Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. And continuing with the movie Prey today, we have special guest Nelson Leis, who is joining us. Nelson was part of the stars of Prey. He played part of the French. I guess we could call them frontiersmen. Is that accurate, Nelson?
Yeah, we're French trappers.
Uh,
So frontiersmen, but certainly trappers. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Uh, so, how you doing tonight? Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. If you hear anything, any banging, it's because my little baby is in the bathtub right now with my wife.
I've been there.
So that'll be that disruption.
I've been there. No worries on that. So, a reminder for everyone, Prey is available right now on Hulu. It premiered on July 12th. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you watch this amazing continuation of an extraordinary franchise. So, let's get started. Now, in the early 1700s, and especially in the Midwestern, what is today the Midwestern Plain
hmm
states, it was still French territory. The Louisiana Purchase didn't happen till like 100 years later. Now, how did you view your group's role in that setting?
Um, I mean, in terms of character research and what I decided our my specific objective was there. We're there to do a job. We're there to realize what we're supposed to, which is to get as many furs as possible and as quickly as possible. So yeah, that's why we were there. Is just to trap and trade furs. Yeah.
Now, I asked, this question a lot, but, especially with franchises like the Predator franchise, what were your feelings when you found out that you were, going to become a part of this universe, this franchise?
Right. Yeah, it was, I mean, obviously, I was very excited when I auditioned for it. I didn't even know it was a Predator movie. It was titled Skulls at the time. That was the code name. And I just thought it was a period piece. And then we learned after the fact that it was a Predator film. So I was pretty stoked when I learned it was a Predator film. I was already super excited that it was a period piece and that we were in Comanche territory. We were acting with First Nations. I knew that from the small
Hmm.
details that were in the script or the sides to the audition. But then upon hearing that it was a Predator world, I was like, wow, this is brand new territory. This has never been done before. You've
Yeah.
got there's almost this fish out of water sort of thing, which is like Predator in a period piece. So that was very exciting to me.
Yeah, and I think I gotta say that has to be one of the really key elements that makes this movie so good. Now, your character is known as sort of the waxed mustache man.
That's right.
Was that? Did you know of that name before while you were shooting, or was it something that came up during the credits of the film and you found out, oh, that's what they're gonna call me?
No, we knew going all the way back to the audition that there was waxed mustache, there was Big Beard played by Mike Patterson, and Spyglass played by Troy Mundell. And then of course Bennett Taylor was Raphael, but we
Yeah.
knew right from the beginning those were our names.
Now,
And sort of the concept there, at least for us, my take on it was that this is how the Comanche saw us. This was
yeah,
sort of their reference, like, oh, guy with big beard, guy with mustache, guy with spyglass,
that makes perfect sense.
and potentially the predator as well.
now,
Yeah.
now, being a fur trader, a French fur trader, did you do any kind of research of what life was like in the early 1700s? Being French in North America, trading furs, and overall, what was
Oh,
their existence like?
oh yeah. All of us listened to this audiobook, which I found originally and then passed it on to the other guys. I believe it's called Fur, Fortune, and Fame, and incredible book. It spans about 300 years of the fur trade in North America. So not just, the early 1700s, but
Hmm.
literally going back to the early 1500s all the way to essentially the late 1800s, the time of John Astor.
Yeah.
So did a lot of research um, on the French trappers, obviously, specifically. Some were French from France, some were French from what eventually became Quebec
Mm-hmm.
in Canada. So that was great. I was in my hotel room just for days on end listening to this audiobook. It was kind of revelatory, some of the stuff I learned in there. And honestly, that's one of the things I love about acting is it allows you to do research, dive into some subject that you might not otherwise uh,
Would have
be asked
learned.
to,
Yeah.
would have learned. Yeah.
And when you mentioned that, I watched a documentary not too long ago, and I found out that going back to the Plymouth colony, the first colonists from England, they were brought here with a specific, yeah, there were Puritans, but
Hmm.
the way their trip was financed was for them to get beaver skin, beaver fur, and pay back their debt. And so it's like that was like sort of the founding of North America. It was pretty bizarre. Now going back to the whole fur thing and this, there's one particular scene where Naru comes upon a whole herd of dead buffalo that have been skinned alive. That is
Right.
very offensive to the Native Americans. Why did you think that was such an important element to this story?
Oh, I thought it was tremendously impactful because it was representative of the difference in these two cultures,
Mm-hmm.
these people. Some the Comanche and the First Nations in general, who have not just had, but have a great respect for nature and everything in it, and there is a spiritual lineage
Mm-hmm.
to everything in nature, all the animals, and so there's a great respect there. And the opposite side of that was us, the French trappers, taking what we needed, which was just the fur, and discarding the rest.
Yeah.
So I thought that was sort of an apt. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there in 1719, but I mean that sort of like expediency and avarice and greed, and sort of just like, let's take what we need, discard the rest, no care for, obviously, for these animals, for these
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Now, when your group captured Amber Naru, before you found out about this creature out there that's sort of hunting you guys, what were you guys going to do with her? What was the end game with, the story that at least you came up for your group's purpose out there? Uh, Capturing her, what was the end game with what you guys were going to do with Naru?
Well, actually, we knew the creature was out there. We knew the predator was out there. So when we walk up to her, we're saying in French, she must have seen it. I think she saw it. So uh, there's already this awareness
Mm-hmm.
that she's probably seen it. We've had encounters with it. We've seen its tracks. For some reason, it hasn't killed us yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of our intention, we each had our own thing. Um, Obviously, that can get pretty sort of dark, if you will,
Yeah.
but we each had our own motivations in what we would have done or not done had the predator not come along.
Now, do you
Yeah.
think the reason why you guys did not immediately kill Naru was it because she was a woman? Not going into the dark and the sexual stuff, but basically you thought she could be traded. Traded back to the Indians, used as leverage in some way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, historically, you did see that. But even intermarrying as well.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot about that in that audio book. So certainly as a bargaining chip,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, yeah, we have something of value for you. Give us your trade routes, or there's a number of things that could have been bargained there. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now let's talk about that awesome sequence. You know, the big face-off between you guys and the big bad alien, the Predator. You guys use Naru and her brother as bait. You tie them to a
Hmm.
tree, and well, everything starts to go sideways. Take us behind the scenes in shooting that entire sequence, which is amazing, and how it all went down.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I shot in that sequence was moments before my demise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I'm giving away here. I'll try not to give too much away. I mean, it is a Predator movie,
Yeah.
and I'm not the protagonist. So that us shooting at the tree line there, that was the first scene that I shot in that sequence, and then the gauntlet and the laser discs
Yeah.
right after that. We shot that sequence, followed by when Big Beard and myself and the rest of the trappers are in the firing line,
Mm-hmm.
firing at the Predator as he's running through. And at one point, I say, he says, fire. And I say, we're going to hit the others. And he's like, fire anyway. So
Exactly.
that was, yeah, exactly.
At that point, I mean, everybody's scared. Rationale just goes straight out the window.
Come on, of course.
As an actor, how do you mentally prepare for an action sequence like that?
Um, I mean, mentally prepare. Well, let me just segue over to the physical. First of all, I've done a lot of physical jobs throughout my career. So I always know just to be ready. I've had enough sort of almost or things been sprung on me that were surprises that
Yeah.
could have potentially been physically dicey. So I'm just like, when I'm doing anything that's remotely physical, I'm like, okay, just be prepared because they might throw this at you or that at you. You're often, even with the best safety people in the world, watching your back, you're in an environment that is live. You're in a forest. There's always roots and trees and branches. So I'm just like hyper aware of everything that's going on around me. So I guess that is actually mental as well. So I'm always staying fit, but I'm just staying hyper focused. Because at the end of the day, we're working with real gunpowder
Yeah.
and guns, and so for me, it's like 100% laser focus. So I'm safe. So everybody around me is safe. Yeah,
Absolutely. How long
that's kind of how I function.
did you guys shoot that entire sequence in a single day?
Um, I mean, it was broken up. All the Predator stuff that was kind of separate. The
Mm-hmm.
treetop jumping was separate. I think a lot of the stuff of us firing that was all in one day. Yeah,
Okay.
but then Troy Mundell as Spyglass when he's running through the forest. That was a separate day. Bennett Taylor as Raphael, his stuff is on a separate day. So it was most of the stuff that I had with Big Beard was
Yeah.
all one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this film, I believe, was shot in Calgary, in Canada. Were the conditions favorable? Did the weather cooperate? What were the conditions like during the shoot?
Oh yeah, it was sunny pretty much the entire time, and it was hot, as hot as I'll get out. And there were forest fires, I think, in British Columbia and maybe in Washington State. So a lot of that smoke was filtering up into Alberta. So it was kind of
Wow.
like there was this heat dome. It was pretty oppressive,
Wow.
but the weather was incredible. Um, and yeah, we were there for the duration of the shoot, us trappers. It was kind of a really unique job in that we had to essentially be available at all times because the weather in Alberta can change on a dime, and it
Yeah.
has historically. It can sometimes be snowing in June or rainstorms, thunderstorms. They thought, okay, these trapper scenes, we're going to also potentially have some stuff as pre-built sets, and if we need to, we'll shoot those. We'll pivot and shoot those, but we never had to. Everything actually went completely according to plan. The weather
Nice.
was amazing the whole summer, other than that heat dome that was going
Yeah.
on. So yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was a pretty beautiful place to be for 3 months.
So let me ask you, the movie's been out now for close to 6 weeks. Are you surprised, shocked on just how popular this film has become? It is not a sequel. It's not an
Yeah,
original. It's something. It's like the fifth or sixth movie in a line of other movies that intermix with the Aliens franchise. But yet, this movie came out blazing, and it's still like the talk of the town. Uh, did that
yeah.
surprise you?
I mean, yes and no, in that, at first I was personally excited, like I said, like just even before I knew it was a Predator movie, I was excited. I thought, oh, this is really great. We're in this like First Nations Comanche world, which you don't see a lot of. I love period pieces. I'd always wanted to do one. And so I thought, okay, this is cool. And then I thought I learned it was a Predator movie, and I thought, okay, this is something special. This is different. This is a
Yeah.
brand new way to do this. This could be really compelling and captivating, and really intrigue audiences. And so when it, so I did think, oh, like people are gonna think this is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was the part that I thought that the yes, and then the no is like, you do a lot of projects as actors, and they do well as an actor, and they do well, and a lot of times they do well, but they just kind of go away.
Yeah.
And people have just kept responding and responding and responding to this favorably. The audience and the critics, the reviewers, and so that's been so cool and so refreshing. And I did think early on. It was also, I don't think it's like too heavy handed to say that I thought this was potentially even like a pivotal moment. It was a really special moment
Yeah.
because here you had Amber Midthunder as the lead in a franchise picture. So this young First Nations woman, it had never been done before,
Mm-hmm.
like in no franchise.
Yeah.
And so uh, and no action movie, right? So I thought, oh man, this is pretty powerful to be a part of what potentially is like a line in the sand, a new
It is.
moment in time. I mean, where people are going to be like, yeah, that kind of changed things, and and people talk about representation, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and you've got young First Nations women, or just young women as well, or First Nations people being like, oh yeah, that's when I saw this woman who looked like me being a lead in the film, and that changed my
Absolutely.
life, and it changed the direction I thought I could go in acting or film or arts or leadership.
Absolutely. I completely agree with
So
you.
again, it doesn't surprise me because it's like, yes, it's a film. At the end of the day, Dan Trachtenberg and everybody set out to make a film that was great, just a good old movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a bit of a zeitgeist moment. Again, not to be too like
No, yeah, I
over,
completely agree with you.
yeah.
It is
So
it's definitely a moment and it's progress and I loved it and I think the audience is responding to it as well. Now, before we go, you have done a lot of TV work. The majority of your career has been in television. What is it like? And you've appeared in some very, very popular shows. What is it like going from a set from a television show onto spending 3 months on a feature film?
yeah, I mean, Dan really took his time, so that was so cool to see. I mean, they didn't leave a shot until they got it right. So I guess the expanse of the budget itself, but
Mm-hmm.
also the timeline to shoot it, that was really great to be a part of. And as an actor, that's what you want. You just, you want to be involved with world class collaborators,
Yeah,
writers, the cinematographers, directors, cast, people who are like really trying to make the best piece of cinema
yeah.
possible. So that was so great. I mean, it was, it really was a dream come true. And so, I guess the budget and the timeline was different than series. Um, but I've had the benefit of doing some pretty awesome series as well, some
Oh
bigger
yeah,
budget series, some that I can't talk about right now that maybe we can talk about in the future. They're
yeah.
coming out. But you know, even like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was a Netflix show, they put a lot of attention and detail and love into that show, and I had a great experience on that. That was sort of my my longest TV
Yeah,
experience, and nothing but positive things to say about that cast and crew and showrunner
yeah.
and the show itself, the writing,
Well,
the product. Yeah.
that's great, Nelson. I mean, congratulations on the success of Prey and your role in it. It's great. You know, I'm sure you're feeling great to be a part of this storied franchise, and hopefully it will continue as well. Any final thoughts you want to share before we go tonight?
I just want to thank everybody for watching. It's so kind of gratifying and beautiful and exciting, and just thank you so much for watching. It's exciting for me to be a part
Yeah,
of a project that is just like
I bet.
boom, resonating all over the world. So
I
thanks,
bet.
world.
I bet it is. And congratulations again. I want to thank our guest, Nelson Leis. I want to thank our audience, those who are tuning in live and those who will be watching this later on. On behalf of myself and Nelson, stay safe. Stay walking, everybody. Good night.
Good night.